No, I mean, with all due respect, I do think that, and look, gender dysphoria is actually something you can be diagnosed with, but I don't think that there might be a correlation, but I don't see being transgender as making you necessarily a dangerous person. I mean, I've talked to these people mostly online. I don't think I've known one in real life. Yeah, some of them are crazy, sure. Some of them, they sound like they're, despite them being transgender, they're not.
People.
Being mentally ill. Being mentally
Sure,
ill.
but mental illnesses are different. So
Transgenderism is a mental illness.
Sure, but you know what's also a mental illness, for example, is something like OCD. OCD makes you, it's an anxiety disorder, but it kind of makes you do things in repetition so bad things won't happen, yada, yada, yada. But it's not one that necessarily makes you impulsive. It's not one that makes you want to hurt people. It's not one that makes you a danger to others. Just because you have a mental illness, huh?
You still need counseling and treatment. You should get counseling and treatment for your OCD.
But what does that have?
Just like you should get counseling and treatment for your transgenderism and not be told that it's normal.
Nobody says OCD is normal. Number one, that's why it's you get diagnosed with it.
They say transgenderism is.
No, it's well, they get diagnosed with gender dysphoria. It's a treatment for it. Yes, I agree.
They give out like awards for being transgender.
Sure, but I would say this though. So somebody with OCD, I highly doubt, if anything, they're probably underrepresented for people who commit violent crimes, just because they tend to be somewhat nervous people. So not all mental illnesses make you a danger to others. The whole point in doing a mental health screening would be to screen out people that are a danger, not looking at people who just have like a weird fucking quirk.
Yeah, but Pepe, here's the thing. First of all, I reject the not your analysis, but discourse analysis on its face, simply because I've even been in rooms with you, Pepe, where we've had this conversation about guns. We always talk about every single time there's a shooting of some capacity, we're talking about access to guns. This is a conversation that we have constantly and ad nauseum. And we always fall down to these two categories. One of them being, okay, if we were to remove all guns, how would we go about doing that? Sending the military to people's houses to take their guns? Because even if you make it harder for people to get access to guns, the people that you don't want to have guns still have access to them, and they're not going to give them up. So the only thing you'll be doing is disarming into quote-unquote law-abiding citizens. Okay? So again, the whole, I don't understand the premise often when we talk about what do we need to do about the situation when it comes to people that are, I guess, mentally deranged. You check mentally deranged, you go and kill children. Okay, getting guns. And a lot of these people probably don't even have criminal records before this. So trying to catch them on background checks is probably not going to work. Okay, so again, it is some, I don't know if Pepe said this or JP said this, or actually it might have been Rashad, whatever the gentleman's name was that was here earlier, that we might just have to accept the fact that this might be a double-edged sword. And I hate to say that because I don't like seeing this type of shit. I don't think anybody on this stage does. Did we start militarizing churches and schools? Now, personally, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the armed guard in the school, but you have people respectfully on the left that will sit back and act as if by seeing a person in a uniform is somehow traumatic to them, even though none of these motherfuckers were around for any type of military activity at all. But for whatever the colors, triggers them. But regardless of the fact, I do not know a serious solution to any of this, besides something that we can't honestly do. We can't take all the guns away from everybody in the country. It's never going to happen.
Right.
Making an amendment is not going to fix the problem, and I'll end there.
No, I appreciate that, Thomas. I'm going to open up the floor a little bit. I see Boss Lady has joined us. How you doing, Boss? It's been a while. And Mike, I don't know if you fixed your mic. Go figure. If you want to speak too, but Boss Lady, do you have any thoughts on this particular issue, or where do you want to go?
I was on the other side of the room. Not right this second because I'm just listening.
All right, fair enough.
But I was wondering, when did you become a king?
Well, that just comes with the territory, boss lady.
He's one
Maybe
tonight.
boss lady.
He's one tonight. He's one tonight.
We'll see how long it lasts, though. You know what I mean?
He gets
Mike.
out of nowhere.
Yeah, for real, right? Mike, are you there yet or no? I don't know if you're back. All right, Mike's not there. Yeah, Discord, do you want to comment on some stuff or what? Go for it.
Yeah, because I wanted to say something real quick, if you don't mind, Discord. Give me 1 second. If you notice, whenever the shooter is a right wing, supposedly, right, quote unquote shooter, right, they dig into the mental illness of the radicalizing of young men, and they go into the mental illness and they dig into it and they talk about how he got radicalized online by Charlie Kirk and all these people, right? That's what they do. When everybody else, go ahead, and everybody else, it's. I agree with you. I agree with you or they'll go to because I hear this all the time when it's a white man that shot somebody to fuck up and say they'll talk about the existential evil of the white race. So they'll start talking about shit like that. So I was like, they really don't care about the mental illness aspect when everybody plays fucking politics. But go ahead, JP.
Well, actually,
No, you got it. You hit it on the head. Go ahead.
I thought it was Discord.
Preach, brother, preach.
That Discord.
one quick question before I begin. But did anybody actually watch the 11-minute video and then read the manifesto?
I did.
No, I don't want to hit myself in the head. No.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I watched it, and then I saw the Chat GPT translations.
Okay, so because I think it is kind of important when you're trying to discuss this particular person. One of the issues that I have regarding this whole entire conversation, keep on going back to trans, is that when you watch the video, when you read his letter, none of it has to do with his gender identity. It literally has nothing to do with that. That's one of my issues.
But no, you make a fair point, and so
I'll let you go right after. But anyways, that's my major issue with this room, or why I came up in the first place when the white was speaking, because this is all just about trans when that has nothing to do with why he did this. If you read the letter, if you watch the video, he was just this eternally online kid who was disturbed and depressed, and he had a loving family, he had friends, and they were mentioned in his letter, and the letter was told.
May he rot in hell.
Yes, of course. And if you read all the things that were in scripture, because he did a good job of being thorough with the video, showing all the different writing, memes and stuff that he had on there. He was very anti-Semitic, but he also hated Trump. He hated Israel. He had a bunch of different memes on there, similar to the one that where the guy shot up the mosque, and I forget which country it was, but it was somewhere in Europe. Probably. Yeah, there you go. Might have been. Anyways. This is an ongoing.
God damn it, Jacob, dude, stop fucking cheerleading.
This is like an ongoing occurrence. That's why it's just annoying that we only talk about the trans issue. Because when we talk about the trans issue, we say that it's a mental health issue. Because I think we can all acknowledge that it is mental illness. We never talk about how to stop mental illness. And then when we talk about other solutions, it gets shut down immediately. So should we start encouraging some kind of way to help people access mental health care? And also, just quickly to finish my point, Thomas, of course, when it comes to people that do these things, it is almost impossible to stop them because almost all of them have owned those guns legally or have those guns in their home already. People don't go to the store before going up to shoot up a school and go purchase them and say, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe for some of them, because there's so many, but that's not the majority of the cases. Usually the guns are already in the home in some way or shape or form. And of course, most of these people have been law abiding because
what's your point?
Shooters until after. What's my point?
Jacob, shut the fuck up and let him finish.
I'll just summarize. The trans issue is not the issue here. If you actually watch the video, Jacob, you would understand.
I actually agree with you, and I think this was like super politicized. Number one, this kid is crazy. Okay, I watched the video and I was like, whew, this guy's cuckoo. He's just listen, and then with the translated, it was in Russian, but I guess it wasn't like action. Some of it he was using Cyrillic letters but using English phonetically. I'm not an expert, but he, first of all, even looking at the things he was that were on his right, that were written with the white marker all over his rifles. Which, yes, in Christchurch they did do that. He wrote a bunch of names. He did have the shit like 6 million wasn't enough. Something about Hayes. It's something negative about Israel. He had nuke India. He when it came to Breivik, the guy who killed like 150 people or some shit in Norway, who's a Nazi, he had his name on it.
Killed Trump. Yeah, killed Trump.
Yes, killed Trump. He had McVeigh's last name on, or the name McVeigh on there. It's just like this guy.
He's definitely left wing.
No, this guy had like literal Nazi shit mixed with like.
Adam Lanza's name on.
Yeah, he had Nazi shit mixed with, and of course, there's one point in the video where he shows a picture of a paper target you get at a shooting range, and where the head was, there was the face of Jesus Christ. He had some like basically atheist shit written on his gun. He was
Whatever, fuck
like,
that guy.
and he had, it was we was Kangs. I saw that written on there. All kinds of like stupid shit. And it's like, I'm just hearing nothing but internet memes all over this guy's fucking, that he's memeing all over his gun. His manifesto did not make sense. Now, the letter to the family, he seemed to be a little bit more coherent to his family and friends. But this kid just seemed fucking batshit crazy. And to call this kid a leftist or right wing, I think I just think he was so all over the place that I cannot, I won't even pin it on trans people. Like, this kid was such a walking contradiction. It was just weird.
So
He was radicalized by Rachel Maddow.
yeah, well, maybe might be onto something. So it could be that he decided to cover every particular piece of meme out there just to throw everybody off, to make it seem like he's one way or the other on something. You know what I mean?
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I mean, there could be things there. I guess the only reason why I reference a political party, Pepe, is because the last 11 other shootings have involved people that were transsexual, okay? So, and are probably are probably on some pretty severe medications for that, and that needs to be looked into. So that'd be the only reason why at this point.
What percentage of trans people are on some type of psychological medication?
I want to jump in.
Well, yeah.
Nobody asked ChatGPT that.
What
See
Pepe
what it
just
says.
said, and stop, man. That's what I got from it as well, when looking at all of the different scribblings and shit that he was saying, and all the different, the ideologies or whatever the fuck. It seemed like it was a net that was meant to reel everyone in, every single faction of people, no matter what your political ideology was. It seemed like it was meant to reel you in, right? People were saying, well, he's anti-black, but yet he shoots up a school full of predominantly white, right? Doesn't make any sense. He's right-wing, but he wants to kill Trump. Doesn't make any sense. He says, fuck Israel, but, says, kick a stick or whatever the fuck, right? It seemed like it was designed to trigger every fucking group out there. So you can't make heads or tails of what the fuck his ideology was, right?
Yeah,
And the
he was
fact that
crazy.
this person
Fuck
just-
that guy.
And so the fact that this person just happened to be trans, it also fed into the ideology of a lot of radicalized people that think, hey, these people are a fucking issue out here.
Right.
So
It
I think that it was
fed
a
all the
fucking psyop.
stereotypes.
It has all the hallmarks of a fucking psyop to just confuse every fucking body.
Well,
So
psyop,
they
come on,
can't make
don't
heads or
put it
tails
away.
of what it is. What the fuck, man?
I know. I hear you, Adrian. I know Holly's been trying to get in here for a bit. If you don't mind. Yeah, let's get Holly in.
Thanks, Matt. To discord what he was saying about access to mental health. Listen, we have the most access to mental health than ever before in history, and yet we're crazier than ever. There's so many problems. I can find common ground when it comes to gun regulation. I'm not a diehard Second Amendment person. I think that there are some people that should never have access to guns. I also think that there are a lot of people walking among us that should not be. They need to be separated from society. And the fact that we threw the baby out with the bathwater during Reagan era and, you know, closed all these insane asylums down, which rightfully so, they were, you know, inhumane. But we ended up with a situation where we have no recourse. You know, families can't do shit. I mean, what do they, when people are, once you're an adult, there's no recourse until they're literally slitting their wrists or trying to kill someone. There's nothing you can do with the, you know. So I think that we need to rethink some of this, because these people, they should not be in society.
Can I talk to Holly's point really quickly, because I've been pondering this and getting to Discord, what Discord was saying as well. And some of you guys are not going to like me saying this, and it might be a little contentious, but I'm just asking the question. Because, for example, everything that Pepe said was absolutely true, but also wild about, you know, this individual and what he claimed to possess, and him being as unhinged as he was. It's very difficult for me to believe that nobody noticed the level of unhingedness this guy was on, or specifically his fucking family. Now, again, Discord has repeated that he had a loving family. He had a loving family. He had a loving family. Then why the fuck didn't they notice?
No, he didn't.
Well, why the fuck didn't they notice that this gentleman was unhinged? And I will say this, and again, I know it's going to sound a little bit controversial, but should we start punishing the families of people that do these type of heinous crimes? Because to me, the fact that this reeks of neglect, the fact that you, as a parent, you do not notice some of this fuckery, to me is unacceptable.
I disagree. First of all, like,
Go ahead.
he was an adult, and you know, there are people who do. I think that personally, people hide this shit. People will plan suit. I used to work, you know, my first job out of college was working as a case manager with seriously mentally ill adults here in Maricopa County. People do shit like plan their suicides, you know, weeks, days in advance. People do crazy fucking shit. I've never had to deal with somebody who murdered somebody. Well, colleagues, people. That's besides the point. I do think that, like, even, let's say I'm an unhinged person, and I'm just, like, I have an axe to grind. I want to do something horrible. Generally, especially it seems like with these mass shooters, that is them checking out. They realize that the day that they do the mass shooting, their life is never going to be the same. And that's why so many of them kill themselves. They know it's just like a prison cell for the rest of their lives, or death. There's the two things that are waiting for them. And so, in a similar way, I think that these people, I don't know that this person would necessarily say things that would incriminate himself. There was one father, I remember reading the news article about it. He went into a synagogue and shot it up. You know, this kid was online. He used to be a fan of, like, Charlie Kirk and so forth. And then I guess he kind of got influenced by some of the more, like, far dissident right-wing people. And his father said he did notice some changes. Like, he was kind of, he was like, oh, well, yeah, Charlie Kirk sucks. You know, I don't need to listen to his Zionist bullshit, whatever. It was just like, he only noticed subtle things, which I don't think is necessarily, even though you could say that's like a sign that he's going over to further to the right. I don't think that is. Most boys are not going to commit a massacre doing that, but this boy did go into a synagogue and shot the place up and killed a bunch of Jews. You know, it's. And the father he seemed very open about this in the interview, and like perplexed and very caught off guard. And he did notice some of the signs, and I'm sure he feels like a lot of guilt. But how can you once you reach a certain age, even if you are a teenager, I know we like to hold parents accountable, but I mean, you can never be completely held accountable for your child. It's just not.
Sure.
To me, it's not feasible.
Sure, but here's my thing.
Can I talk to you real quick?
Wait, 1 second. Well, let me respond to him real quick. You got you. But the thing about it is, let me wrap it up with Pepe real quick. But the thing about it is this, and I understand where you're coming from. But we gotta like most of these people are not, Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy, where they're so secretive of their behaviors that it catches everybody off guard. A lot of these people, so like when you talk to psychiatrists a lot about a lot of this stuff about serial killers and things like that, a lot of these people show signs. They're cutting the heads off animals and doing all types of heinous things and watching things that are pretty disturbing. And a lot of these signs are shown and are seen by others when they interview a lot of these rapists or serial killers or just people that are deranged. People that are interviewed but that know about them often say, "Oh yes, he showed signs doing this, that, and so forth." Very rarely were they like, "Yo, Ted was cool. At least to go and hang out with him." He never showed signs. No, most of these
You're comparing two different people. You're comparing two different types of killers, though.
Sure, that's true.
So if you look at the profile of a serial killer, which is a rarer phenomenon. Jesus Christ!
I can talk in my own room too,
But the psychological profile of a serial killer versus somebody who's doing their end run, their last go at it, just a mass shooter. I highly doubt, and I'll look into it, but I highly doubt they share much in common.
Is it popcorn or is it?
Yeah, it's popcorn. I'm just going to say my final thing to Pepe. I hear where you're coming from, Pepe. But the reason why I said potentially punishing the family, because a lot of these guys execute themselves in a way to say, "Aha, you can't get me because I'm taking myself out." But if they start seeing that these families are held to account as well, so we're going to get you beyond the grave, nigga. Okay?
You think that really works?
I mean, but that's like North Korea style.
Perhaps, but it does. But again, I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers, but perhaps they could potentially make people think twice about doing something. It's potentially. It's a family's potential.
Read his letter. You'll have a little bit more insight about what he was actually thinking when he did this, and you may take away some of the points that you were trying to make.
This kid was basically
hold on real quick. Pepe, can I get a go real quick? I want to say this real quick, and I'll be real brief. His targets, the Christians, kids that he targeted, says a lot about what the fuck he was on. And for you to come, there's a lot of people coming up with all kind of excuses. The guy was mentally ill. The majority of mass shooters are mentally ill. The issue is, are we treating their mental illness? And like Jacob and the host was saying, there has been a rash of transgender people committing mass shootings. Now we could say, is it the chicken or the egg, right? But if you have people who are mentally ill, right, and then they see a way through by becoming transgender, there you go. It's still a mental illness.
A mentally unstable person isn't going to say, like, all of a sudden, I want to look like a fucking woman, and I want to get a dick in my
they do.
Yes, they do, because they tell them that's what's wrong with them. They tell them is that they're in the wrong body, right? Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say,
Y'all been trying to get in. Y'all, go ahead. Yeah.
thank you so much. I
I'll
want to
go
say, sick of pretending like cutting off the healthy sex organs of children is a normal thing. It's not. It's criminal. Cutting off dicks and breasts of young children is absolutely criminal. It's malpractice. And it's a failure on society because it's not just the parents, it's every